The story begins with a completely out-of-control young man named Tommy. He slaps a security guard to get into a club. Inside, he drinks, gets high, and when his girlfriend Gabby tells him to go home, he ignores her and starts roaming the streets. He goes to a bus stand and takes a piss right there. Tommy was a full-blown addict. It was well past midnight, and he could barely even walk straight. That's when someone approached him. The scene then shifts to a man named Chris. A woman named Katrina has come to meet him. Chris asks her a few questions, like whether she has any children. He asks if she has any addictions. Katrina says no. So Chris hires her. She arrives at his house and Chris, who wears a wig, opens the gate for her. Katrina showed up 30 minutes early, which Chris immediately pointed out. As soon as she steps inside, he checks her with a metal detector and locks her phone away in a locker. Katrina's job profile stated that she was prepared to perform non-standard tasks. And Chris had exactly that kind of work for her. Just then, Chris's wife Catherine walked in. Chris told her that Katrina would be helping around the house. But Catherine left without saying a word. After that, Chris gave Katrina a tour of the house. He had a son named Jonathan. They then walked further into the cellar, where Tommy was lying on the floor, chained up. The sight immediately scared Katrina. Chris calmly told her there was nothing to worry about. He said Tommy was just a little sick, and they were going to make him better soon. Chris then revealed that he had checked Katrina's background and visa status. He knew she had a rough start in the country because of a removal order. He said he understood she probably didn't have much choice in what she was doing and even offered to talk to a friend at the home office to help her. But Katrina quickly refused and said she would handle it herself. After that, Chris explained a few rules of the house. No outside cleaning products were allowed because everything they used was eco-friendly, and the house followed a zero-waste lifestyle. Finally, he warned her that when she cleaned the cellar, she shouldn't take anything Tommy said personally. He might say strange or harsh things while under stress. And if she ever felt threatened, she shouldn't hesitate to use the taser or the pepper spray. So Katrina got to work with her duties as a maid. Tommy woke up and looked at her. He told her to come closer and undo his chains. But Katrina ignored him and went back upstairs. Chris reassured her again. He said he knew it might look unconventional, but they wouldn't be keeping Tommy down there for long. He explained that Tommy was going through a rebellious phase. From upstairs, they could hear Tommy screaming. So from now on, Katrina would be coming to their house 2 days a week. Meanwhile, Chris went down to the cellar with pizza for Tommy. But Tommy threw the pizza and told Chris he would get out of there and make him pay. He said he wouldn't let him go. He would rip his skull off. Chris tossed him and laid him back down. Catherine then turned to Chris and asked him what he had done. After that, Chris played a video on a TV set up in front of Tommy. It showed a car accident Tommy had caused. Tommy watched it proudly. He bragged about how many views it got online. He felt no guilt for what he had done. Then another video played on the TV, this one featuring Chris himself, where he talked about the number of drunk driving accidents happening across the UK. After Chris left, Tommy started aggressively trying to break free from his chains. The TV, still running, was showing tips on how to control aggression. While struggling with the chains, Tommy accidentally spilled his own pee all over himself. The next morning, Chris asked Catherine if she wanted to come downstairs and check on Tommy. Catherine went with him to the cellar, but when they got there, they were met with Tommy's mess. Chris asked Tommy how all of this happened. Tommy responded by grabbing his soiled pants and flinging them right in Catherine's face. Chris rushed Catherine back upstairs and kept apologizing, saying it was too soon for her to come down. He then picked up a large suitcase. But just then, Jonathan hesitantly asked him if he thought Charlie would mind if he read his comics. Chris said okay, but told him not to tell his mother. After that, Chris went back down to the cellar and told Tommy he owed his wife an apology. Tommy fired back, saying they should be the ones apologizing to him. He said he was the victim here. He swore he would kill Chris. Then he started saying disgusting things about Chris's wife. So Chris pepper sprayed Tommy and started beating him with a baton, saying bad boy, over and over again. But even Chris himself looked hurt by what he did. After that, Jonathan told Chris that maybe they could watch a film with Tommy. Chris said maybe not just yet. The next day, while Katrina was doing her work, Tommy started talking to her. He said she clearly didn't have a problem working here. He recognized from her voice that she was foreign. Then he started saying horrible things, telling her to go back to her country. Chris came in and found Katrina in tears. He scolded Tommy and told him that in this house, they treat each other with respect. He said Tommy owed Katrina an apology. Tommy was starting to get scared of Chris by now, so he reluctantly apologized to Katrina. Chris had brought painkillers for Tommy. He took him upstairs and chained him in the living area so he could sit there and watch a movie with Jonathan. They were about to watch a war classic, but Jonathan suggested they watch Charlie's favorite film instead. Hearing the noise, Catherine came out of her room and joined them downstairs. She sat with them and started watching the movie too. The film made Tommy emotional. He asked to go back downstairs. After the movie, Catherine started thinking about Charlie even more. She said she had dreamt about him again last night. He was coming up to visit them. Meanwhile, the TV in front of Tommy was playing a segment about how drugs are harmful. Tommy kept trying to turn it off but couldn't. He tried breaking the chains again but failed. Defeated, Tommy started crying. Then he heard a line on the TV that said the secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. The next day, Tommy apologized to Catherine. He promised he would never do it again. Catherine accepted his apology. Chris told him he was so proud of him. Chris turned the TV back on in front of Tommy. That's when Catherine noticed something. She said she saw him squinting during the film. She had Tommy try on different pairs of glasses. Once he found the right ones, everything suddenly looked crystal clear to him. Tommy thanked Catherine. Then they showed Tommy a video on the TV of how he used to beat people up. Tommy asked what their point was. He said what did they think his probation officer would do when she realized he hadn't checked in with her. Chris told him he had run a full background check on him. There was no probation officer. Tommy had managed to get away with all of his shenanigans. After that, Catherine pulled out some of Charlie's clothes for Tommy to wear. They extended his chain so he could use the bathroom on his own. Catherine handed him a book, but Tommy didn't read. Still, seeing the looks on both their faces, he took the book anyway. Just then, the doorbell rang. Chris attached a taser to Tommy's chain and told him to stay quiet. It was just a delivery boy at the door. Catherine told Jonathan he must never open the main gate. Jonathan said sorry. Shortly after, Catherine found cigarettes hidden in Jonathan's clothes. Chris went to Jonathan and asked him about it. Jonathan said he just found them. He admitted he smoked one but promised he wouldn't do it again. Chris asked him if he didn't like it, right? Jonathan nodded. But then Catherine stepped in. She told Jonathan he had looked his daddy in the eyes and lied. She said there's no punishment for telling the truth, but there was no truth here at first. They forced Jonathan to smoke. His throat was burning. He was coughing and crying. Chris couldn't watch it. Catherine told Jonathan to destroy what destroys you. Then one day, Tommy asked Katrina for a cigarette. He told her he knew a smoker when he saw one. Tommy also apologized for his earlier comments. He had realized that Katrina's situation was just as bad as his. When Tommy asked, Katrina handed him a piece of chewing gum instead. Tommy tried to get her to tell him where they were, but Katrina didn't say a word. After she left, Tommy started trying to go through Katrina's things. But when he heard Chris coming, he quickly sat back down and pretended to be reading his book. Tommy called Chris a constable. He had figured out from Chris's behavior that he was a police officer. Tommy told him to level with him for a minute. He said if Chris let him go now, he swore he wouldn't tell anyone anything. He would leave them alone and walk away. But Chris told him to relax. He said everything was fine and that they had a lot of time to start liking each other. They then played another one of Tommy's videos in front of him. In this one, Tommy was bullying a school kid. He had snatched the kid's phone and smashed it. Then he burned the kid's face with a cigarette. And that was something even Tommy couldn't watch anymore. After that, Chris was scolding Jonathan one day while teaching him. Catherine stepped in and told Chris to let her take over. So Chris went down to Tommy, who said it would be nice to sit at a table like a normal person. Tommy asked Chris the meaning of a few words he had come across in his book. Chris told him to read the full sentence. Then he had Tommy figure out the meaning himself just by reading it in context. After that, Tommy made a deal. He said if he finished the book, would Chris tell him the football scores? Chris said for every book Tommy read, he would buy him a beer. A non-alcoholic beer. Chris then went to his room. Catherine was standing outside. She told him she thought it was time. The next day, The entire family walked down to Tommy carrying a cake and singing happy birthday. Tommy blew out the candles and took a bite. He loved the taste. They had a whole plan for his birthday, but for it to work, they needed to put him to sleep first. When Tommy opened his eyes, he was in an open field. The whole family was right there with him, having a barbecue. Tommy was still chained, but with a much longer chain. He ate with them. He played with Jonathan. Afterward, they put him to sleep again and took him back. He went out peacefully. When he woke up this time, he wasn't in the cellar. He was in a proper room. The table inside had some markings on it. Chris came in and showed Tommy how he could use one section of the chain to go from his room to the bathroom. The other section, which Chris was still working on, would eventually give Tommy access to the downstairs area. Catherine told Tommy not to look at the chain as a sign of distrust. She said to look at it as a sign of their trust and the progress he had made. Catherine even gave Tommy her special bell. Over the next few days, Chris finished building out the second section completely. He installed locks on it for safety. Once those locks were opened, Tommy could walk downstairs freely, sit at the dining table and eat with everyone, go to the living room and play games. They could all watch films together, like a proper family. Tommy started getting playful on his chain, showing off stunts to everyone. Then one day, while playing with Jonathan, Tommy asked him about the room. He said it used to belong to someone, didn't it? But before Jonathan could answer, Chris called him away. Meanwhile, some men were following Katrina. Back at the house, Tommy noticed how shaken up Katrina looked. He told her he would beat the shit out of anyone making her feel this miserable. Then, with sweet talk, Tommy tried to get the 4-digit code for his lock out of Katrina. She told him she didn't remember. She didn't know it. After that, Catherine was outside taking a walk while Chris was inside checking how far Tommy could reach with his chains. That's when Tommy asked him if he and Catherine ever did anything together, like husband and wife. Chris shut him down and told him it was none of his business. Later that evening, Katrina still hadn't left the house even after 6. Catherine sat her down and asked what was going on. Katrina told her she was being watched by her previous employer's men. They had found her again. Catherine told her to move in with them until they knew she was safe outside. She said they were her family and she should stay with them. After that, Tommy started flirting with Katrina. Late at night, Chris heard the sound of Tommy's chains rattling. He went to check on him. When he saw what Tommy was doing, he told him to use the bathroom for that kind of thing. While he was there, Chris also brought up Tommy's earlier suggestion. He admitted that maybe he should be more romantic with Catherine. He said he had an idea for that. The next day, Tommy took Catherine upstairs to his room as part of their plan. The two of them talked about drugs. Catherine said drugs were a form of escapism from people's problems and everything that's important in life. Tommy's response was that life is shit sometimes, so you have to get through it somehow. He said it was like a holiday. After that, when they came back downstairs, the lights were off. The rest of the family welcomed Catherine outside. Chris had set up a candlelight dinner for the two of them. They started dancing together. Tommy watched them from a distance, and tears filled his eyes. But then Tommy asked Katrina to get him something long and thin from the kitchen drawer. He pleaded with her to help him, so Katrina opened the drawer for him. But because of his chains, Tommy couldn't even reach the open drawer. He stretched himself as far as he could, straining with everything he had, and managed to grab a screwdriver. He quickly hid it inside a pot. Later, Chris came into Tommy's room and thanked him. He said he hadn't seen Catherine this happy in years. Tommy then asked him a direct question. He told Chris he knew he had kept another guy chained up in that room before him. Chris denied it. He said Tommy didn't know what he was talking about. The next day, when Chris left for work, a group of men slipped inside the property just before the main gate closed. They barged in. They were there for Katrina. Katrina turned to Catherine and said she was so sorry. She said these were her people and she had to go get her things packed up. On her way out, Katrina whispered the code to Tommy. The men beat Tommy. When Chris got home, he took care of Catherine first. Jonathan had fallen asleep next to Tommy. Chris sent Jonathan away and told Tommy he had behaved like a real man. He said Tommy had protected the family today. He told him not to worry. It would never happen again. He said he would get them the best home security system money could buy. He said Tommy could help him set it up. They could do it together, like father and son. But later that night, Tommy woke up. He stuck chewing gum inside his bell to keep it from making any sound. Using the code Katrina had given him, Tommy unlocked the lock and gained access to the downstairs section. He crept downstairs, reached into the pot, and pulled out the screwdriver. Tommy started using the screwdriver to break his chain, but the noise woke Chris up. He came downstairs with a gun in his hand. Tommy grabbed the gun from him. Chris asked him what he was doing. Tommy pointed the gun right at him. Catherine came down too. Chris told her to stay back, but Catherine walked straight up to Tommy and took the gun from his hands. She believed Tommy didn't actually want to leave, but Tommy told her she had kept him chained. She had beaten him. He said he wasn't some dog they could just take in. He wanted to leave. Catherine asked him what about Jonathan. Tommy said he was a decent kid, but they were going to mess his head up just like they did the other one. That's when Catherine called Tommy Sparkles, the same name she used to call that other boy. Tommy told her he didn't know what they did to that boy, but he was never going to be him. Chris walked over and opened the front door. He told Catherine they had to let him go. He reminded her of what happened last time. Catherine then tried to turn the gun on herself. Chris rushed in and stopped her. Tommy ran out of the house. He made it to the road and collapsed. Sometime later, an officer asked him about his earlier statement. She said he had originally claimed he was taken by some family, that he was a replacement for their son. But Tommy denied everything now. He said he made it all up. He told her he just wanted to be alone for some time to sort himself out. He said he was staying with a friend named Jonathan. The officers said she would close down the missing persons report. It turned out Tommy's own mother hadn't filed it. It was Gabby. So Tommy went to a club to find Gabby. But when he saw her, she was in bad shape. She had become an addict too. Tommy went up to her. The next day, he put Gabby in a car and drove off. Halfway through the drive, he asked her if she trusted him. Gabby said yes. Tommy held a chloroform cloth to her face and knocked her out. He set his car on fire, picked Gabby up in his arms, and carried her all the way to Chris's house. He rang Catherine's bell outside the gate. The gate opened. Chris and Catherine were both overjoyed to see Tommy back. Tommy was just as happy to be home again. And with that, friends, this story comes to an end. Let us know what you thought of this explanation in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.